In today's world of marketing, there's a lot of talk about a customer funnel. What is it? How's it work? Is it really a funnel? Is it effective? And then there's a lot of talk about, I don't believe in a funnel. I get it. Nonetheless, your marketing has to have some form of structure to it. We like customer funnels as thought through and trained to us by Ryan Deiss with Digital Marketer, to which we are a certified partner at Viral Solutions. And Digital Marketer's version of a funnel is incredibly well thought out, and it's created by somebody who's actually used it, put it into place in a real business. Not just taught it and trained it. I mean, really lab tested it. Okay? That to me is a big difference. Now, when you're taking a look at your marketing, you have all of these components and everything engaging your prospective customer, trying to drive revenue, and your competitor trying to steal them away. So you're trying to figure out what's your goal, what's your objective, how do you measure it, how do you know what works? We get that question all the time. And so what Digital Marketer's funnel has helped with is put a lot of structure and definition to that. And that's what we want to spend a lot of time talking about. TOFU, MOFU, BOFU. Top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. Different tactics, different ways of measuring each segment of the funnel. Let's go into detail. In TOFU, your goal is to increase awareness. This is where branding and messaging and the emotion of your content goes into play. It's also about increasing web traffic. I mean, these are the goals of TOFU. Brand awareness, website traffic, increased engagement. Growing retargeting lists, retargeting, that part of advertising, but how do you measure it? What's the tools involved? Well, TOFU is a lot of blogs and social media updates and photographs and digital magazines and books and PDFs and your podcast, videos, small sub-sites, sub-microsites. They used to use a lot of those microsites or sites that are really targeted towards a certain audience, you know. Now they're like individualized landing pages that may not be in the menu of your website because they're very targeted. It's print magazines and newspaper and billboards and research. You might publish research or information or editorials with other third parties. Those are all TOFU type items. Those are the tactics that you put together to try and increase awareness, drive traffic, create retargeting lists. That's the goal of TOFU. Now, how do you measure it? Well, you take a look at your Google Analytics. What was your traffic last month versus this month, last season, this season, quarterly, weekly, daily? Depending upon your business model, what makes sense to vary? How much seasonality do you have to your business determines how you measure that. Engagement rates, click-through rates, inbound links, an SEO tactic. Awareness is hard to measure. That's usually done through focus groups or surveys, things like that. Retargeting list growth. Now that's something that that's factual. You know, I used to have 1,000 and now I got 1,100. All right? You know, you can measure some of these things statistically firm, and some of these things are a little fuzzier, and that's okay. Now, I've had clients ask me, Tom, how much did my blog make me? My answer is, that's not the goal of your blog. The goal of your blog is to get people coming back to your site so that it feeds your retargeting list, increases your engagement, better in-depth and understanding and loyalty, and for you, the person to come to. Yes, everything needs to drive to an end result of great revenue. I get that. But the main goal of TOFU is not for sales. And that's why with a lot of our clients, we really are careful with where we make an ask or an offer or a presentation or a request to buy versus purely educate and give away for free. TOFU. Big difference between TOFU and MOFU. MOFU. That's still educational, but now we start to get into more use of webinars and events and seminars and clubs and reward programs and discounts and coupons and tripwires and educational resources and free trials and downloads and that type of thing. This is where you get some sort of an exchange for value. That could be monetary at a loss to your company. Get something in their hands. An exchange for value can be time exchange. Exchange for value can be, I want all your contact information. I'll give you this. Tell me what your problems are. I'll give you advice. All right? So the goal here is to grow your leads. Grow your email list. Grow your retargeting list. This is also initial customer acquisition, but probably the first buy and probably at a smaller price. So it might be a fragmented piece of your whole offer. It could be a small initial under $10 purchase. You've got to define that. But keep it all relative between the free part of TOFU versus the opt-in and the initial offer and the initial customer acquisition exchange for value, monetary, time, otherwise, of MOFU versus what BOFU is. Now, how do you measure MOFU? Well, the number of leads that you had today versus yesterday, week, month, quarter, year. Retargeting list growth, email open click-through rate, text message click-through rate, any type of click-through rate, engagement rate, where your social post maybe is in a private group. You made that TOFU to MOFU transition. Okay? So social media engagement TOFU is very broad. Now we're getting more specific. Into the MOFU, exchange of value, exchange of time, exchange of money, measure it. Measure those rates. We call conversion rates. A conversion rate is just you took somebody from point A to point B or C or whatever, and what's the number of people that made that move, that migration, that flip? That's a conversion rate. It can be a lot of different things. What are we converting at? How many people were in your list that bought your initial tripwire low dollar offer? 10 out of 100, that's a 10% conversion rate. Next month you look at it and you got 8 out of 100, so you slipped. Now you take a look at what did you change. Is it just seasonality? Is it economic issues that are outside of your control? Did your competition get better? Or did you change something with color, font, message, price, deliverable? Small changes, delivered, changed, MOFU, measurable, rinse, repeat. Be methodical and systematic. BOFU. This is a continuation of lead to customer nurture. Maximizing customer value is your goal here. So if your offer is $10 and you sell 50 of them in a year to your average customer, then your customer value in a year is $500. Well, maybe your goal is to raise that to 600 or 510 or whatever it might be, double it, triple it. Or maybe it's to lower it and get more volume. Whatever your goal is, it's to maximize immediate customer value. Then increase retention, repeat buyer frequency. That's the goal of BOFU. Here you're given customer testimonials, customer stories, a continuation of webinars and events, but more specific, more granular, heavier teaching, heavier tech, heavier explanation, deeper dive. BOFU metrics are number of sales per qualified lead, promo, email, SMS click-through rates, things that are promotional, not just educational. Retargeting list growth, that tends to run all throughout this, but there's different types of retargeting. Retargeting at TOFU is educating on another subject. Retargeting on MOFU is to try and get somebody to take another little offer because they didn't buy your core offer. Retargeting list growth at BOFU is to try and get add-on sales, repeat sales, more items, more often, more frequency, more sense of urgency, flash sales. Retention rates. How many people bought from you last month, last year, last quarter, last week, yesterday that didn't buy today? Those are things that you measure metrics on BOFU. So TOFU, MOFU, BOFU, each one has different goals. Each one has different metrics. When you tie this all together, this is how you get systematic, methodical, measurable, high-quality marketing. Now, high-quality marketing doesn't mean that your sales go through the roof and you make a lot more money. We have had instances with customers who they went through this whole process only to learn, and they were told this up front, that you may have more competition than what you can acquire for business. In other words, the more market share you take on is the more penetration you're making with a competitor. And they aren't just going to sit still and let you do that. They're going to change and take over. And in this world of intense and immense amounts of content, you have a lot of competition that'll give away a lot of information for free that you may be trying to gain money for. These are factors in your business strategy, in your business plan, that have to be known to your marketing team. TOFU, MOFU, BOFU. Refining strategy and tactics so that you can have specific goals and ways to measure them, so that you can define success and make intelligent decisions along the way. That's the purpose of a funnel as defined by Ryan Dice and his team at Digital Marketer, and how we do business at Viral Solutions on your behalf. We've got the team to pull it off. They're very smart, very intelligent, well-trained, highly educated. That's what's behind Viral Solutions. We know what we're doing. Strategize, execute, grow. viralsolutions.net. Check us out. Give us a call. Fill out a form. Schedule an appointment. Let's roll.